Previous slide shows the male reproductive system for your reference. Let's continue on and get through the rest of this presentation, hopefully in this one short video. Of course, the primary male sex organs, spit it out, lead the testes. That is where sperm is produced, and that is where testosterone is produced. They're going to be those ovoid structures that are held within the scrotum outside the body. Internally, they are divided into lobules. Each lobules will contain seminiferous tubules, think production of sperm cells, as well as interstitial cells, think production of testosterone. The seminiferous tubules will morph into and give rise to what's known as the epididymis, where to store sperm cells. Let's continue on because I have a better picture in the next slide. There it is. So you can see the seminiferous tubules. Remember, that's site of sperm production. And then the epididymis, the head, and then in the body, tail, and I don't have my cursor. That in turn will give rise to what's known as the ductus or vas deferens, the site of vasectomy. Within the seminiferous tubules, you're going to find a lining of stratified squamous epithelium. There will be two types of cells in that germinal epithelium. Spermatogenic cells, which is where sperm cells are produced, and the supporting or nurse cells, which, as you can tell what they do by their name, you're right, support and nourish the spermatogenic cells. The epididymis, again, is very tightly coiled tube. It is going to turn into the vas deferens, average of about 5 meters in length. It is where males store sperm once they are produced. The vas deferens is a muscular tube. It's going to travel upwards superiorly from the testes. It passes through the parietal peritoneum in the inguinal canal into the abdominal cavity. It will form the ejaculatory duct within the prostate by merging with a duct from the seminal vesicle. And of course, we know it's the site of vasectomy. That seminal vesicle is going to produce an alkaline fluid, which is going to be extremely rich in fructose to support the sperm. The prostate gland is sort of this walnut-shaped gland inferior to the bladder. Will produce and secrete a fluid that is alkaline, which is going to be important because the environment of the vagina is slightly acidic to help fight off pathogens. Inferior to the prostate are these two small glands, which are known as the bulbourethral glands, and they are going to secrete lubrication for the penis for intercourse. And there are the images for those of you who are more visual. Scrotum is going to be, of course, that skin pouch that encloses the testes. You need to know, spit it out, about the cremaster muscle, which is an extension of the internal oblique, which is the abdominal muscles. It's going to elevate the scrotum when the male is sexually aroused and or is exposure to cold. And that's because we want to make sure the sperm are held in an environment that is the right temperature for them to continue to exist. Of course, the male excitatory organ is the penis. It's actually equivalent to the clitoris in females until the fetus starts producing testosterone. Of course, it's specialized to become erect for insertion into the vagina during intercourse. There are 3 columns of erectile tissues, and it is going to completely surround the urethra. The urethra in males is longer than the urethra in females, of course, because of the penis. The average penis, if I remember correctly, is about 5.2 inches long when it is erect. There are wide variations in the length as well as the diameter. Within the penis, you're going to have what are known as the corpora cavernosa. There are a pair of them. There is a single corpus spongiosum, which is going to actually widen or extend at the distal end in order to form the glans penis. The tunica albuginea is white fibrous connective tissue that's going to surround each column. And the prepuce is the sheath, that loose fold of skin, which is going to cover the glands. And another image for those of you who are visually inclined. You can see the corpora cavernosa. Can't see my cursor, that are bilateral, deep arteries, which will bring blood in order to fill those. And then you have the corpus spongiosum, which will also fill with blood during an erection. Briefly on spermatogenesis. Males produce sperm once they hit puberty and for the rest of their lives. It will be produced in that germinal epithelium that we mentioned before. That germinal epithelium is in the seminiferous tubules. Sperm cells arise from spermatogonia. They contain 23 pairs of chromosomes, and meiosis is going to cut that number in half. So the number of chromosomes in a mature sperm cell is 23 chromosomes, as we talked about earlier. One spermatogonia, which has 23 pairs of chromosomes, duplicates its DNA. That will, in turn, give rise to one primary spermatocyte that will undergo meiosis 1. That gives rise to 2 secondary spermatocytes, which are going to undergo meiosis 2. Those each have 23 duplicated chromosomes. They will give rise to 4 spermatids. Each of those will have 23 chromosomes. They are haploid. Those are going to mature into 4 sperm cells. And of course, remember that happens in the seminiferous tubules. And each of those will have 23 chromosomes apiece. They're haploid. Here's a diagram of what's going on. Like charts. Sperm is the only cell in the human body that has a flagellum. Shows what's happening with the maturation of sperm. Happens over approximately 24 days. Sperm has a head. That head will be covered by this sort of helmet, which is going to contain enzymes which are required to penetrate the outer layer of the oocyte. That's what's known as an acrosome. The mid-piece is going to be filled with mitochondria because the sperm need mitochondria in order to make that incredible journey. Watch the great sperm race and you will see how incredible it really is. And of course, the flagellum is used for locomotion. How do we control testes? Now, here's our friend the hypothalamus again. Once puberty hits, the hypothalamus is going to secrete releasing hormones that will target the anterior pituitary. We already know that the anterior pituitary will produce both FSH and LH. In males, FSH stimulates spermatogenesis. Where does that happen? Germinal epithelium of the seminiferous tubules. LH, luteinizing hormone, is going to trigger the production of male sex hormones, testosterone, because it's going to stimulate those interstitial cells in between the seminiferous tubules. The major androgen in males is testosterone. It's going to trigger the development of the secondary sex organs of the male and cause them to grow and increase their facial, axillary, and anal hair follicles. Bone and muscle will grow. It's targeted. They will be targeted by testosterone, and the vocal cords and the larynx are also targeted. So males end up with increased body hair, a lower pitched voice, increased muscular growth, and a larger skeletal frame. Interestingly, this has been clinically proven. Males that have higher voices have more viable sperm than males who have what is considered a more masculine lower voice. List of videos there. Always love everything put out by the Institute of Human Anatomy. And there's a shortened version of the difficult version of the sperm.